You keep repeating the same patterns, not because you are weak, not because you lack awareness, not because you secretly enjoy chaos. You repeat them because your nervous system learned that this is how safety feels. And safety does not mean peace, it means familiar. Most people think they are repeating situations. In reality, they are repeating internal regulation strategies. The partner changes, the job changes, the city changes, but the emotional structure remains the same. And that structure is what recreates the pattern. Pause for a moment. Think about one situation in your life that keeps looping. Maybe it is relationships, maybe it is procrastination, maybe it is overworking, maybe it is pulling away when things get close. Now ask yourself a different question. What does this pattern regulate inside me? Because every repeating behavior serves a function. It reduces tension. It restores something familiar. It protects you from something your system once learned was dangerous. When someone does not reply to you, what happens inside? Is it really about the message, or does it activate an old feeling of being ignored, overlooked, not chosen? The trigger is external, but the reaction is historical. Your mind does not respond to the present moment. It responds to stored meaning. That meaning was built earlier, often very early. When you were young, your brain created shortcuts. If love required performance, you learned to overperform. If attention was inconsistent, you learned to chase. If closeness led to pain, you learned to withdraw first. These were intelligent adaptations. They worked. They reduced emotional threat. But here's the problem. The brain does not update automatically. It keeps running the old program because the old program once ensured survival. So now, as an adult, you say, "I don't understand why I always end up here." You end up here because your system prefers predictable pain over unpredictable uncertainty. Uncertainty feels dangerous to a conditioned nervous system. Familiar discomfort feels safe. That's why awareness alone does not stop the cycle. You can understand your pattern perfectly, you can explain it, you can talk about it, and still repeat it. Because the pattern does not live in your thoughts, it lives in your automatic response. And automatic responses are not changed by insight. They are changed by interruption and repetition. Imagine a forest path. You have walked one path thousands of times. It's clear, easy, fast. The new path is covered in branches, uncomfortable, slower, uncertain. Your brain will choose the old one every time unless you consciously walk the new one repeatedly. So how do you actually stop repeating the same patterns? First, slow the trigger. Patterns are fast. The space between trigger and reaction is usually less than a second. Your work begins there. When something activates you, do not immediately respond. Do not text back instantly. Do not shut down instantly. Do not argue instantly. Breathe. Notice the sensation in your body. Where is the tension? Chest? Stomach? Jaw? Stay with the physical sensation for at least 20 seconds. This interrupts the automatic loop. Second, separate facts from meaning. Someone cancels plans. Fact, they canceled. Meaning, I am not important. The meaning feels real, but it is an interpretation built from memory. Ask yourself quietly, what else could this mean? You're not trying to be positive, you're trying to create flexibility. Patterns thrive in rigid interpretation. Flexibility weakens them. Third, identify the regulation function. What does your pattern give you? Avoidance gives temporary relief. Overworking gives a sense of control. Emotional withdrawal gives protection. People-pleasing gives belonging. If you remove the pattern without replacing the regulation, your system will panic. So you need a new way to regulate the same tension. If you avoid conflict, practice micro-honesty in low-risk situations. If you overwork to feel worthy, practice stopping before exhaustion and tolerating the discomfort. If you withdraw when things get close, practice staying present in small increments. Not dramatic change, small structural shifts. Repetition builds new wiring. Consistency rewrites expectation. Over time, the nervous system learns something new. Closeness does not equal danger. Rest does not equal failure. Silence does not equal rejection. And here's something important. You cannot shame yourself out of a pattern. Shame reinforces it. Why? Because shame increases internal threat. And when threat increases, the system runs the old protective strategy faster. Compassion is not softness, it's strategic. When you reduce internal threat, the system becomes flexible. Flexibility creates choice. Choice is the opposite of repetition. So the real reason you keep repeating the same patterns is not that you can't change, it's that your system is loyal to what once protected you. Honor that, then update it, not with force, with structure, not with motivation, with repetition, not with self-criticism, with deliberate, conscious redesign. That's how loops end, quietly, structurally, and permanently.